Maybe you're here because you want to start a dog bakery, but it feels out of reach or not doable, confusing, or scary. Before running a dog bakery, I was working 40 plus hours a week, making an average salary in the fashion industry. What I thought was going to be my dream career turned out to be the complete opposite. I was miserable, surrounded by toxic people 24/7, and was completely burned out. This is definitely not what I had envisioned for myself. After deciding to make a change and take matters into my own hands, my business took me from living paycheck to paycheck to running a six-figure business with our dog bakery, Bobby and Bambi's. We sold on our website to retailers across the nation, worked with a bunch of dog influencers, sold hundreds of products per day on Amazon, had three amazing employees, and even made dog treats for an Old Navy commercial. And it's not just me. My students have gone through the same process I did and have successfully launched their businesses and have accomplished the same, if not more, than I have. You might be thinking, hold up, how did you go from working in the fashion industry to running a dog bakery? I know it's so random, and I want to take you back to how it all started. Let's rewind back to 2007, 2008. This is my dog Bobby. He was my everything and lived to almost 17 years old. He was actually my wife for my business. Soon after Bobby came into my life, he just kept getting sick. We took him to numerous vet appointments and just always left with medication and without any real answers to why. One night at around 1 a.m., we rushed Bobby to the pet emergency because he was shaking and vomiting blood, which was so scary. I remember holding Bobby's frail body in his cozy blanket and just bawling my eyes out because I truly thought I was going to lose him that night. Around 3 a.m., the ER doctor just told us to go home because they were going to keep him. And on our drive home, I felt so helpless. And for some reason, my mind kept coming back to his diet. At the time, he was on a prescription diet. Our vet told us this was the best thing for him. But I kept thinking, this might be it. So as soon as we parked, I ran to my computer and started going down the Google rabbit hole, like we all do. After a couple hours, the sun started shining through my window and I just decided I need to go to sleep. So I decided to just do one more Google search. And at that last attempt, I found UC Davis's pet nutrition program and I finally found what I was looking for. I spoke with the vet nutritionist and what she told me blew my mind. She said the prescription diet was probably the root cause of Bobby's health issues and that he probably had severe food allergies. She also recommended that I cook for him. This was almost 20 years ago, so food allergies and making your own dog food treats wasn't a known thing back then. I was so conditioned to believe that dogs were only allowed to eat commercial dog food. So that day, I took charge of Bobby's health and decided to cook and bake all this food and treats. Okay, side note, I didn't even know how to cook and bake human food. So this was going to be a huge learning curve for me. And I'm going to be honest here, it was so hard for me. But it was all worth it because it felt so good knowing exactly what was going into his body, and his transformation was incredible and happened very quickly. This was Bobby before, and this is him after. The food I was making him was healing him from the inside out. I remember when I told my friends and family I was cooking for Bobby, they hardcore made fun of me. This concept was like so foreign and ridiculous to them. Like, who cooks for their dogs? They're just animals, which I absolutely hate it when people say because our pets are our family. And of course, we want to do the most for them. So, when they saw Bobby's transformation with their own eyes, they were shocked, like jaws on the floor, shocked. These very same people that made fun of me then started asking me to make their dogs food and treats, which I, of course, happily did, and I couldn't keep up with it. Showing my friends and family how nutrition could change their dogs' lives was such a huge win for my heart and soul, but most importantly, a huge win for their dogs. This is when my husband suggested I turn this into a business. I looked at him and I said, are you insane? I'm not a business person. I don't have a business degree and I wasn't a vet nutritionist. I was just a girl in the fashion industry that loved your dog, and that just didn't sound very credible to me. So days went by and I couldn't stop thinking about the possibility of turning this passion project of mine into a real business. It seemed so out of reach and so scary, and I was afraid, how was I going to afford this on top of our household bills? I thought, how cool would it be if I could replace my 40 plus hours a week job that I absolutely hated with something that I truly loved doing? What if instead of living paycheck to paycheck and making somebody else rich with my efforts, I do that for myself and my family? Maybe you're feeling this way too. So, my turning point happened after a really hard day at work. It was pouring raining, and my mood definitely matched the weather. I was feeling down, burnt out, and in desperate need of salty carbs. You know, when you're around toxic people all day and you just want carbs to make yourself feel better. So I hit up a McDonald's drive-thru and got myself a large French fry and a Sprite and got onto the freeway on my almost 2 hour commute home, just feeling sorry for myself. You know, just one of those, what's my life purpose kind of days. I asked God if this was really it for me, and if I'm just supposed to be this unhappy and unfulfilled. I wanted to look forward to live life every day, not just live life for the weekends. So about an hour later, the rain started to clear and the sun just started shining through. And then at that moment, I looked up and I kid you not, I saw a dog-shaped cloud, the side view of it, running with its ears like this. And at that moment, something inside of me just clicked. I took it as a sign and decided at that moment that I'm going to finally start my business and go all in. Okay, was I scared? Heck yes, I was. But at the same time, I was so excited. I got to work right away. Of course, I didn't know what I was doing, made tons of mistakes, and did it the hard way. It was so scary at first, but as I was going through the motions of executing and completing each task, my business moved forward. And every time I moved that little inch forward, I grew confident every step of the way. After 12 long months, we finally launched Bobby and Bambi's in 2014 at a local pet expo. I remember right before the doors opened, I broke down and cried because I was filled with anxiety that we weren't going to sell anything and everything we worked so hard for the past 12 months would have been all for nothing. But guess what? We ended up selling out in 2 hours and made $1,500 that day. It felt freaking amazing. Of course, then the doubt started to creep in, and I thought, this was just beginner's luck, or it was a fluke. So we signed up for another expo. We made $2,000 at that one, and the next one we made $5,000 in one weekend. After the three expos, this was the breakthrough and confirmation that I was looking for. The number one question people ask me is, can you be successful in a saturated market? I just love telling our launch story because these three pet expos were the proof that yes, you can be successful in a saturated market. We were surrounded by petri companies and we managed to sell out before they all did. The market was super saturated back then, but the advantage that you have now that I didn't have back then is that pet parents have a lot of trust in small businesses than bigger companies. Back then, consumers had more trust in the larger brands over the smaller brands, which made me so nervous about launching in the first place. The process of starting a dog bakery is the easy part. Taking action and taking that leap of faith is the hardest part. Just like getting your brain and your heart to align to make it over to making that first step is always, I don't know why, the hardest part. It's so scary, but when you put one foot in front of the other and move forward, you will find your way. If you have any questions, please email me at minyang@dogbakery.com. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope to see you inside Dog Bakery Academy. Bye!